Video we'll show you how we can machine just part of a contour. This is the IGES file, and if we want to machine just the cutout there, so the first thing to do is to create sketches in the normal way. So with the cursor in the graphics area, we right click, say pick faces, right click, select the face, right click and say make a sketch from the face. So that gives us a sketch which is the inside and outside. Right click to split the sketch down into two, so that's the outside and that's the inside. So if we just do a profile operation on that sketch, we'll go around the outsides, use climb milling, select the tool. We're not going to use a surface because we're not 3D milling. We set up the feed change plane, the work surface and the step down and so on. So that creates the machining around the entire sketch. But what we want to do is we want to isolate just that cutout. So to do that, with the profile operation here, in the objects window, if we right click, we can say pick the start point, and we can have the start point as there. Back to the profile operation, right click and say pick the end point, and pick the end point there. So now we get just that part machined. Now we can further enhance that if you want to. With the profile operation selected, we can come down into the properties window here, and if we want to, we can extend the machining before the start point and past the end point, so that it machines past the ends of the part of the sketch that we've just created. Okay. So if you want to do that, then you can do. If you don't, then you just set that back to 0. The other thing that we can do with that is that we can add a tag to that shape, so that it won't machine right the way through, and therefore we can break it off using a manual method. So again, with our view where we want it to be, right click on the profile operation and say add a tag, and pick the position where you want the tag to be, and pick another one, and then press escape when you finish that, and therefore you can now see that it's only machined down using the steps that we've chosen. The last step has not been machined, only the center portion, and the tags have been left. Going back to the profile operation, if you hit the plus button here and hit on tag, then you can, in the properties windows here, you can set the width of the tag, the angle and the height and so on. So if the tag is too wide, you can just make it smaller, and the same one there. Or if you know the exact position, which is the center point of the tag, then you can change that as well. So that's the machining of a partial contour. The other thing that we might want to do on this part is find out the size and location of the holes here. So to address any part of the model and use the snap modes, they only apply to sketches. So the first thing to do is to highlight the face, right click and say make sketches. So we've now got sketches there, and now when we come to do the dimensioning, we can use the snap modes. So we're in the geometry tab here, so we're going to choose dimensioning, and what we want to do is we want to control the dimensioning to a certain plane, so that to get the Z position of those holes, in the messages window here, we can we can click on mode and choose in the Z-axis only. The snapping modes are set here, so we've got center point and intersection point snapped, but make sure that in your options window here your selection filter is set so that it's actually searching for the items that you want, so just check all of those. Okay, so now when you come to put the dimension on, you can click on that point there, and that is now going to find the center point of that circle here. So that's 3 mil, and that's where we put the dimension. So that's dimensions just up from that bottom corner, or we could have gone from the top down. So now we want to carry on dimensioning but just do the x-axis. So again we can go to there, and then that will lock on to the center of that, and then do the same thing there, and just make sure that it's going to lock on to the center there. Okay, we can do the same sort of thing to find the size of the holes there, and the same here. Okay, so that's how we can dimension the position, but just remember that when you're doing the dimensioning, because you're working on a 3D model, you have to choose which plane you want it to dimension in, and make sure that your snap modes are set. So that's how you can do some partial machining and put some dimensions on.